Hi, hello and welcome to this video. In this video we are going to learn PHP, JavaScript and Python in a single video. The reason why I'm doing this is I surfed through the internet and I couldn't find any tutorials regarding differentiation between three different programming languages. Just I thought of doing it and here I am. Let's roll on. First, I am going to create 3 new folders that will serve as a base directory for each of our languages. So I have a folder YouTube in my E drive. So in that I am going to create 3 new folders for each of the specific languages, that is JavaScript, PHP and Python. Alright, 3 folders have been created for JavaScript, PHP and Python. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to open this folder in my Sublime text editor. So here I'm going to open these 3 folders. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to create files inside these 3 folders for their languages, specific languages. So inside JavaScript I'm going to create a JavaScript file and name it as JavaScript .js. JS is an extension for JavaScript, and similarly I'm going to do it for PHP. So that file name will have php.php. PHP is an extension for PHP files, and for Python I'm going to do the same name, python.py. py is an extension for Python scripts. Alright, so we have 3 folders inside of which we have 3 files in the name of the same. Alright, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to separate these 3 into 3 tabs. So every language will put forth in each of the tabs, so that will make a pretty good difference between these 3 languages. Alright, to run your JavaScript file we are going to make use of Node, and to run PHP file we are going to make use of PHP's inbuilt server, and to run Python code we are going to use Python's inbuilt compiler. So if you don't have that, we have to download and set it up in a machine manually. Doing that is very simple, so I'll walk you through that. To download Node.js you just have to go to this link nodejs.org and you can download for your machine. So I'll post these links in the description. You can just click and download it. Similarly for PHP you can follow this link and you can download your PHP and set it up in your machine. And similarly for Python, just go to this website and just download. That's it, we are ready to go. So let's dig on to some of coding. So the first thing we are going to differentiate is between variables. So variables is nothing but a container to store data. Data can be anything: image, video, audio, strings, integer, anything. So if you do not know what strings and integers is, you can watch my basic introduction of programming that will be posted in the future. The first thing is to declare a variable in JavaScript. You just have a keyword called var that will use to define a variable in JavaScript, followed by your name of your variable, whatever name you can give, and followed by an assigning operator that will be an equals to, and you can give whatever value. So for now I'm giving some name as a value for the variable name. Similarly for PHP we use a keyword or identification, a $sign, for creating a variable. Same goes here. I'm going to do the same so that you will get difference. But the difference will be, for a JavaScript file you can write directly, but for a PHP file your PHP code must be inside PHP tags. PHP tags are nothing but this: a question mark and an angle bracket and we are going to close this with angle bracket and question mark. Sorry, question mark and angle bracket. So this is how you will write a PHP code. Anything you are written inside this becomes PHP code. Anything you write outside it will not work as a PHP code. Alright, so we have discussed variables in JavaScript and Python, and PHP. We are going to do the same for Python. Python doesn't allow, Python doesn't have to we have to mention a symbol to define a variable. You can just write in a simple English, that will do. That is why Python is very simple and easy to learn. I suggest you to learn Python as your beginner level language. So this can be some name, fine. We don't have to put your semicolon at the end, but in PHP you have to do it. That is very strict. So in JavaScript, some compilers does want us to do it correctly, but some compilers would not mind if that is not being there. Okay, so the variables done. The next thing we are going to see is comments. So comments are very important in programming. That is, we have to, in some cases we might forgot what we have written. So indicate that we can just write a comment on top of it or below it, so that we can identify what it has been written. So if you are writing 100 lines of code, comments are very important, and so that you can identify for what you have written this function. So comments we have single line comment and a multi-line comment. The difference between single line comment is, if you write a comment that will be in a single line, that is called single line. Similarly for multi-line, for writing multiple lines of code. Okay, to write a single line of code, you will be doing double slash followed by your comment. This is single line comment. Okay, double forward slash makes a single line comment, and a slash with a star, takes you into multi-line comments. So you have to close your multi-line comments, or else everything, whatever you write inside that, will treated as comment. So to close your comment, you can do star slash. That's it, single line comment and multi-line comment. Pretty much same we will be using in PHP. Comments are same in JavaScript and PHP. There is no other options. There is no need of worrying about. But in Python, there is this difference in this. So in Python, single line comment comes with hash at the front, single line comment, and your multi-line comment starts with your triple quotes. So this becomes multi-line comment. Hope you are getting it. Fine. So comments are done. Super cool. Then we are going to learn about arrays in these three languages. So first of all, you need to know what is an array and what is a variable. Array is a variable which can store multiple values. So if you store a single value, that becomes a single variable. If you store multiple values, that becomes an array. To declare an array is just nothing but a variable with multiple values. So to declare a variable, we will do var, and I'm creating a variable called an array itself to make it simple. And array will have square brackets as a syntax, and inside square brackets we will be having values. It can be strings or integers, anything. So it will be A, B and C. We have an array of 3 variables, 3 strings actually. So we can just copy the same here and put it here, because arrays are same in JavaScript and PHP. Only difference is the assigning of variable. Okay, done. So in Python we don't actually have an array, instead we can use the lists. Lists are similar to array but we call as lists in Python. Same simple thing. So array and lists. We don't have array in Python. Okay, so instead we can use lists. The next thing we need to know is an object. Object is also a variable which can store key and value pairs. It will embrace with an brace symbol which can have name, whatever name you can give. So I'm just giving the same here. It can have here. So this is key and this is the value for it. So that becomes an object. So in PHP we don't actually call this type of thing as an object, but if you want to use this some kind of key and pair values, we can use an associative array. So associative array is nothing but having a string mentioning another string. For example, I'll tell you, an associative array will be an array which has key and values. Done. Associative array done. So if you want to do the same kind of things in Python, there is a different word called dictionaries. So there is no associative array or object type in Python. We do it as a dictionary. Dictionary is similar thing as JavaScript does. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it over here, but the name is different. Studied major things about a variable, array and object in each of the three languages. Fine. So now we are going to start to know how to use these three things in our program, right? So what is the use of these three things? So we are going to go into functions now. So functions are a set of code that can be described to make any set of combination or any set of programs, say. So to define a function in JavaScript, you just have to write a keyword called function followed by your function name. So I'm going to print the name which is here in a function. So that will start with a function keyword and with an open close parenthesis followed by your open close braces. So inside that I'm going to call another function which is a console.log, which is a class. Console class has a log method that can print the name. So in the we will be discussing about classes and methods in the for PHP, writing a function is the same as JavaScript. So you will have a keyword function and followed by your name of the function, and inside parenthesis you can give your arguments name as, if you want to send this name variable or take any variable, you can just give like this function takes argument and open and close braces, and you can return or print is a function basically to print everything in the console, just like console.log in JavaScript. So here you can use echo or print. So we are going to use print here. So we are going to print whatever the arguments that we are passing here. Okay, so done. So for Python, defining a function is quite different. That is, we will be using keyword called define print name, the same parenthesis, and in Python the indentation is very must, so you have to follow the indentation properly. So to define it, and we don't use close and open braces here, instead we use a colon to end the definition title of your function. Then if I press enter, you will see that I am going 4 spaces ahead. That is very important in writing Python code. Indentation is very important. So here also I am going to print the same name here. Alright, that's it. We don't have to do the semicolon. And then we have defined 3 different functions in each of the programs, so we need to call that function in order to that function to perform. Calling a function is straightforward. Just type your function name followed by the parenthesis. This is applicable for every programming languages, so just call your function by just placing a name and followed by the parenthesis. So we'll just go and take a look at our program. So just type node javascript.node followed by your file name. That will return you your output, and in PHP you can run it using PHP followed by your file name. In this case PHP is the file name. We are getting nothing. That is because we have not passed any argument here. So instead this is taking an argument. We have never passed anything here, so I am going to pass this name variable as an argument itself. So I am going to pass this, and that will return some name here. Fine. So after this we are going to do it for Python. Running a Python is straightforward. Python and the file name of your Python file, that will return some name. So actually we have learnt variable, array, objects, functions, and how to. The next thing we are going to see is about conditions. Conditions starts with an if condition. If I'm going to check if the name variable which we have as equal to some name. So what this operator will do is, if you put single equals, that assigns a value. If you put double equals, that is a different scenario, that checks the value between the left hand side and the right hand side and returns it. So if name is equals to some name, then open curly brace and then console.log yes. Yeah, okay. So if name and some name is equal, if name is equal to some name, print yes. That is what we meant. Else we can do this else or console.log no. Fine. So this is fine. Pretty much same we will be using it for PHP. If name, just alter your name variable, and we don't have console log here. Instead we are going to use print here. So in conditions and PHP is different, Python is different, as the syntax of Python is different from other languages. So in this if conditions is very straightforward. If name double equals, and that will be some name, then you have to end your statement with a colon, and you have to give 4 space head and then print name. Else should be in the same line as if, else colon print, sorry, we are going to print s here. We are going to print no here. Alright, let's see whether it's working fine. So we just have to comment everything, this comment, because we don't need single line comment is hash here. Save. So now we are going to run for JavaScript first, node and file name. That prints yes, that is because name and your name is same. In PHP, running in PHP, and that file name yes prints it correctly. And in Python we do the same, yes prints correctly. So what if you don't want to check this is same? You just have to put a not operator, that is an exclamatory mark in bit before that thing, not and not. So here there is a case. So in Python we just have 2 signs. In this languages we have 3. That is because Python doesn't care about any data type. For JavaScript we have data types, integer, strings, and so on. Including PHP we have the same, but Python doesn't care about it. So whatever you have to check, it will be direct. So if you, when you are typing, when you are coding, we will be easily knowing about it. So if not, that should print, the 3 languages should print no. See, no, JavaScript works fine, PHP works fine, also Python works fine. So that's it for conditions here. Thing we are going to learn about is loops. Loops is nothing but a set of code that keep on repeating until a specific threshold is attained. For example, if you want to run a program or run a function 5 times, you have to write a function 5, you have to call that function 5 times. Instead you can use a loop that will call the function 5 times other than you calling it 5 times. For example, we have 2 types of loops. One is for loops and while loops. We will start with for loops first. For, we are going to give the syntax for is for we are creating a variable where I equals 0. So we are going to start with 0 and the condition will be I is greater than 6. So that starts with 0 and equals 6, that in the sense we are going to get till 5. I'm going to increment that I to get to 6, open close braces, and call this print name method. Yeah. So what this will do is call this print name function 5 times. Okay, 6 times. That is, you have to do it like this. If you want to, if it starts from 0 and greater than 6, it will be 5 times. Similarly, for the same we can do for PHP as well. There is no difference. Okay, but in Python we have a difference. That is, we do not have increment decrement operator in our Python, so that instead we have a range function, so that you can use that instead. For I in range 0, 6 colon to end a statement, print name. Here you just have to pass that name variable in order to get it. Alright, so let's check whether this is working as expected. See, some name 1 2 3 4 5 times, pretty cool. PHP, there is a syntax error. Okay, so we have done this very bad, so I have to make sure that this is PHP, and now calling it 1 2 3 4 5 6 times. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Fine, that is fine. Alright, in PHP we are getting correct things. Next we are going to test it for Python, which will be same. We have 1 2 3 4 5 6 times. Cool. So for loops sorted. Basically while loops and for loops does the same things, but the pattern is different. You don't have to use for loop if you are using while loop. If you are using while loop, there is no need for using for loop. Just a preference. We have an option for that. Okay, so I'll tell you how that works. Similarly, I'm just going to comment this out so that we don't have to get much consoles over there. So I'm just going to comment out. I'm just commenting out all the things so that it will not result in our console. So we are going to learn about the while loops. While you consider like you have an variable which is a number equals 5 times. Simple, same like everywhere. So while number, you start a number with 0. Consider you have a number or variable which starts with 0. So what you have to do is, to print it 5 times, you have to check whether the number is greater than or lesser than 6, and then what you have to do is print that function for a time being, and you have to increment the number plus 1 every time when the loop runs. So this is similar to this, as if we have a variable 0 and it is greater than 6 and we are incrementing here. Pretty much the same, and it is actually the same. And for PHP code, it's literally the same thing that we need to do. There is no difference at all. You just have to do this, copy paste your code, and that will work. Just change your variable signs. That's it, done. For here, while loop works as the same. While loop is similar for every language. So here, so while number is greater than 6, print name number plus equals 1. That is because we do not have increment operators in Python. Alright, that's it. We are done with while loops. We can just test our while loops now. So I'm going to clear the screen. Some names works similar. What about PHP? There is a syntax error. That is because we don't have mentioned this one. We need to pass an argument so that it is saying as to pass an argument, you idiot. And now we are going to run this. You are getting this, no problem. What this says is there is an undefined variable. That is because we just copy pasted it. That is because here, okay, it's doing the same, no problem whatsoever. And next we are going to run our Python script First I'm going to clear the screen. There is an invalid syntax, that is because we are copy pasted but never ever changed it. That is, the syntax is wrong. Have number keyword. I'll just create a number, starts with 0, and now it should work. Okay, that's it, simple. So as a summary, we have learned about variables, arrays, objects, functions, if conditions, for loops, and while loops. These are the basics, and a concept of class comes into a place that becomes an object-oriented programming language. For example, to create a class, we just type the class keyword. Cool. To create a class, just type the class keyword followed by your class name. I'm going to create a class called school, which is, I don't know why I got this, class school, and open your brace. That will be your class object. So every class object will have a constructor by default, even if you don't mention that. So constructor is nothing but when you're creating an instance of this class. I will tell you what an instance is. If you're creating an instance of this class, this function, this is the method that will be called first. So now you got a difference between functions and methods. Methods and functions are literally same, but if you write a function inside a class, that becomes a method. Simple as that. So in a constructor, you can do whatever assigning you want to do. For example, I'm just going to create two values or a single value that this class will have as a member. So I'll tell you, this will have a name property that will be school. This is how you create a class constructor in JavaScript. Fine. So if you want to write a function, the same name, print name function, so you can do like that. Similarly the same thing, but now you are going to console log this dot name, not just name. That is because this class has a property called name, and that property we are using in this function. Alright, this is how you create a class in JavaScript. Similarly, for PHP, we use the same class keyword followed by the same function class name followed by the same open close brackets. It is also a constructor, but the syntax is different. So here we will be using the function keyword again and followed by a double underscore, and construct is the name, default name for a constructor. Okay, this underscore is a double underscore. You have to see it's very clearly that is very double underscore. So that will give open close braces, and you can type a property this name. See, the syntax is much different than JavaScript what you have written is here. So it's just this dot name, but here dollar this name, and you can assign it to a variable and value called school itself. That will be very easy for us to check. And then I'm going to create another function which does the same thing here as print name, which will print the same here. This will print the name itself. Okay, clear. So creating classes here is done. So to create a class in Python, we use the same class keyword, same school name, but we don't have braces in Python. We use colons. then we start with a constructor. So as I said, every class will have a constructor by default and also a destructor by default. I'll tell you when the destructor comes into play. We don't have to manually do anything here. We don't have actually come into constructor that is by default. We can change, or we have an option to edit or modify our constructor. That is what I'm saying here. So just like normal function, we define a constructor just like this. So in Python, a constructor is defined as an init method which is followed by double underscore init and followed by another double underscore and open close parenthesis and end of statement. That's it. This is how you define a constructor in Python. So here also I'm going to do the same. In here we have a keyword this for this instance and this for PHP as well, but here we are going to use self as representing this school class. Okay, so self.name will be equal to some name, simple as that. So our constructor is now ready. Then I'm going to define the same print name function, which will be this, and that will print self.name, simple as that. So we have a class written in 3 languages: JavaScript, PHP and Python, and we know what a constructor is and how the syntax of a constructor does. And what about this keyword? We have to deeply discuss about this keyword in every languages. That's a concept for another video. Let's wait for that. And that's it. We have created classes for each languages. So how to use these classes? That is the main thing that we need to know. Okay. So to use a class, you have to create an instance of this class and use it. So to creating instance of a class is very simple. Create a variable called school instance okay, school instance. We have to just call new and the name of that class. So what this will do is create a variable called school instance with the class itself. So if you want to call that function, print name function, you can call it by school instance dot print name. So that will call this function directly. You don't have to manually do it again and again. Okay, so here in PHP we do the same. We are going to do the same class instance. Here also we are going to use this keyword, new keyword. That is fine. And here we are going to call school instance, but we don't use dot operator here. We are going to use arrow operator. Print name. Fine. So this is how you call a function's classes method in PHP. And next we are going to do the same for Python, but in Python it's a little bit different. School instance, we don't have to call the new function, new keyword here. We can just pass school here. That is why Python is very simple. School instance dot print name will do all the things for you. We don't have to do it. Doesn't matter if you do it. So I'm going to clear screen, node, school. So this is a school name. Fine, that is working. So here, school, see, PHP is also working. Fine. Similarly, and for Python there is a problem. That is because if you find this error, that what it says is init takes 0 positional arguments but 1 was given. The thing is, in here we don't have to mention it, but what actually happens behind the scenes is every school instance, every instance of a class takes the class itself as a parameter. Parameter sense, we have to give something like this. So in Python we just have to define that manually. So what this constructor is taking, the constructor itself. When we are making a full-fledged tutorial, we can make sure that is coming here. So everywhere you are taking, you can just give self as an argument. That will not be an issue at all. So now if you run it, some name will be there. That is because self. So if you want to learn more, you just put it in the comment. I'll explain you in a detailed manner, and just like the slow pace we can go this. If you want me to go very faster, I can also go. This has to be very beginner style video, so that this is very slow. So these are the important topics for these 3 languages. Hope you like it, and hope you make a difference between the languages and how it works. And the next video we will be discussing all about each language in a particular manner. So if you want any of the language to be treated first, you can just put it on the comments, so that we will start working on the particular language itself. So hope you like it. If you like it, please subscribe. It will help much for me, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.